Happy lunch hour, guys. Okay, so one of the big challenges that a lot of preppers have is having money to buy different things. And this is where getting creative comes into play. Okay, how can you do something that isn't going to cost you an arm and a leg? And I'm going to give you an idea of some of the projects that I'm working on that I will show you here in the coming weeks because they're not something that I can do in 2 minutes. Okay. Uh, but my point on this whole thing is this: you need to look around the house or anywhere. I mean, I don't care if you're taking out the trash or what, and look and see if you can repurpose something into something that's useful as a prepper. All right. Now, I'll give you one I've talked about many times before is old pallets. And I am currently working on a project where I am making some, I don't know how you want to put it. They're not really raised beds. They're kind of like planters or whatever for growing carrots. And I got this idea from somebody on YouTube who grows carrots competitively. Yes, there is competitive carrot growing. So I've been working on that, and that's disassembling pallets and making a box and sand and all this sort of stuff. So I'm working on that one. But give you other ideas. Something I've done quite often in my life, if you will, is making my own fishing lures. All right, you find an old stick or something sitting on the front porch, whittling it down, whatever, put hooks in it, and all you have yourself is a fishing lure. I mean, to make the little eyelet, real simple. Take a piece of wire, put it on a drill bit or whatever, and spin it, and now you have a wire, and all you can do is drill a hole and super glue it into the stick. You can use, I mean, a good one for topwater baits, for example, is wine corks. I mean, this is stuff we throw out, guys. A wine cork and a bottle cap will make you a great popper for fishing. Put a hook in it, you've got a fishing lure. Gee, you want to catch some dinner? There you go. Let me ask you this one. This is another one I'm working on. Y'all know I canceled my TV service about a year ago. I've still got the satellite dish. I've also still got the satellite dish from the satellite internet we used to have. I'm working on turning those into parabolic sun ovens. There's many things that you can do taking a product that you don't use anymore and turning it into something. You got to get creative. Okay, you can save yourself a ton of money doing it. I'll show you these as I do it, but those are some topics real quick that if you're interested in doing things like this, go look them up on YouTube. I mean, guys, there's everything you want is on YouTube. You just have to think outside the box and come up with the idea, what problem do I want to solve, and go look it up. Let's talk about, lately I've been talking about defense and security quite a bit. You got an old baseball bat. I'm not saying one that's broken, but an old wooden baseball bat. Okay? Now that's going to be one hell of a blunt object to use for self-defense. Drive some nails through it. Now it's a real good self-defense weapon. Okay? Now you're not just bending the guy over, busting a bone. Now you're getting rid of your problem altogether. Saving old pieces of rebar. The concrete, the bar that goes through concrete, if you will. You can do a lot with that. I mean, if you've got the skills, which this one I don't, you could turn that into a knife or something. But again, very useful piece of equipment that you can make stands out of for a pot over a fire or whatever it would be. Again, just another piece of scrap you see laying around all over the place that you can use it. I've talked about punji pits before. How many of us don't have sticks in our backyard? You don't have to dig a punji pit far, all right? Dig it 6 to 12 inches in the ground. I'm not talking about today, all right? If we have an SHTF situation. Put a bunch of those in. throw some cardboard over the top, some leaves, somebody steps on that, you got a nice sharp point, they just put a hole in their foot. Guess what? That's a hell of a quick defense mechanism that will stop somebody dead in their tracks. Give you another one. Mason jars. We all have mason jars, right? We all have vegetable oil, right? Do you have wicks? Cut a hole in the top of a lid, which we hopefully all have a bunch of those, drill a little hole through it, pull a wick through. You've just made a homemade oil lamp. You know, it's things like that that we're going to have to learn how to do, or preferably know how to do ahead of time, because you're not going to be able to get all the stuff that you need. I mean, just for example, the parabolic solar oven. Well, what do I need? I need reflective tape. It's either that or I need to sand like crazy until I get down to the aluminum and I can polish the aluminum. Well, the reflective tape is probably going to be a lot easier, because sanding and sanding and sanding and sanding and sanding takes sandpaper, which I'm doubting anybody can make, and it's going to take electricity, unless you plan on trying to do all that sanding by yourself. And I don't think you're going to want to do that. But this is something to really think about. Start thinking outside the box now. What could I possibly need? And how could I solve the problem? You know, the idea for this came up, not that I haven't been doing some of these things already, but the idea for this video came up with my buddy talking about the Fresnel lens the other day. I'd never heard of one, okay? Simple as that. I just haven't. And actually I went out and I was going to try to do the video today, but it's kind of partly cloudy, so I couldn't get it. I can't get a good beam of sun. All right, so I'll get that one done for you guys, but I'm going to improve on just holding a piece of plastic here so I can turn it into something that I can start a fire with, or possibly cook with. If I can focus solar energy, I can cook with it, right? I mean, regardless, you know, without starting a fire. Why would I want to do something like that? You know, a fire gives off smoke. And if I can cook without giving off smoke, that's a little bit of OPSEC. So come up with different ideas. Think of solutions. I mean, I showed you the one last year on making the tripwire alarm out of a clothespin. You know, those little things that you're going to have to learn how to do. And like I said, preferably know how to do beforehand. Because when the balloon goes up, you're going to have a solution. And at that point, there's not going to be an internet to go look on, a YouTube to go look at and say, gee, how do I do this? If you spend a little bit of time now trying to at least learn about, if not already do, the solutions for problems that you may have, you can be way ahead of the game. You know, give you an idea. What is your? I've talked about sandbags before. I mentioned the AR500 sheets on the live stream on last night. You know, granted that's a little expensive, but what is your idea for protection? You know, from bullets. Be blunt here, okay? Sitting in your house is not going to give you ballistic protection. Maybe if you've got a brick house, you're going to get some, okay? But most houses these days are vinyl siding or wood siding or whatever. I'm telling you what, vinyl siding does not stop a bullet. So, you know, do you have something for ballistic protection? You know, because remember, you may be trying to protect yourself from the bad guys, but the bad guys are shooting back. So, those are some things I've got coming in future videos here that I'm working on. But start thinking about those ideas of how could I solve this problem? And if you've got some ideas that you don't know how to solve the problem, shoot them to me. Maybe I can figure out a solution and share it with everybody else, you know, how to build something. I love to build things. Okay, I'm not an engineer, I'm not a construction guy, whatever would be, but I like to get creative and figure out how to solve problems or improve on already existing stuff. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But hey, if you got some ideas, shoot them to me. I'm more than happy to listen to you guys, learn something new from y'all, have a little bit of fun doing it. Enjoy lunch. Pinball out.